Verse 17. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a great voice, saying to all the birds that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together to the supper of the great God. Signifies the Lord from the divine love, and thence from divine zeal, calling together all who are in the spiritual affection of truth, and who think of heaven, to the new church, and to conjunction with himself, and thus to eternal life. By the angel standing in the sun is meant the Lord in the divine love. By the angel the Lord is meant, and by the Son his divine love. By crying with a great voice is signified from divine zeal. For a voice or influx from the Lord from the divine love is from divine zeal. For zeal is of love. By the birds that fly in the midst of heaven are signified all who are in the spiritual affection of truth, and thence think of heaven. By coming and being gathered together to the supper of the great God is signified a calling together to the new church and to conjunction with the Lord. And because eternal life is from conjunction with the Lord, therefore that is also signified. By crying come, the calling is signified. And by gather yourselves together is signified the calling together. Yeah, because Jesus died for that purpose. Because we read that Jesus died for to scatter all, for to gather all scattered children of God, for to bring them together and to make them one. And Caiaphas, high priest, was prophesying about that, and John said about the purpose of death of Jesus Christ. And we see that because and by gather yourselves together signifies the calling together. The Lord is meant in the word by an angel, may be seen above, the more so here, as he was seen to stand in the sun, and no angel appears in the sun, for the Lord is the sun of the spiritual world. Therefore, the Lord alone is there. That by the Son, when speaking of the Lord, the divine love is signified, may be seen. That by crying with a great voice, when said of the Lord in the divine love, is signified to speak of law in from divine zeal, is manifest, because the divine zeal is of the divine love, here for the salvation of men. That such things as are for the understanding and thence of the thought are signified by birds above. Here they who are in the spiritual affection of truth and think concerning heaven, since it is said, the birds that fly in the midst of heaven. And by flying in the midst of heaven is signified to observe, attend, and think. That the new church and thus conjunction with the Lord are signified by the supper of the great God. See passage 816, where the supper is called the marriage supper of the Lamb. Any comments maybe? Verse 18. That ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of commanders of thousands, and the flesh of the mighty, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit upon them, and the flesh of all, free and bond, and small and great, signifies the appropriation of goods from the Lord through the truth of the word, and of doctrine thence, in every sense, degree and kind. Just above, conjunction with the Lord by the word is treated of here treated of here, it is concerning appropriation of goods from him through the truth of the word. By eating is signified appropriation. By the flesh which they should eat are signified the goods of the word and thence of the church. And by kings, commanders of thousands, the mighty horses, them that sit upon them, free and bond, small and great, are signified truth in every sense, degree and kind. By kings are signified those who are in the truth of the church from the word, and abstractly the truth of the church from the word. By commanders of thousands are signified those who are in the knowledges of good and truth, and abstractly those knowledges. By the mighty are signified they who are in erudition, are signified they who are in erudition from doctrine from the word, and abstractly erudition thence. By horses, the understanding of the word is signified, and by them that sit upon horses are signified they who are in wisdom from the understanding of the word, and abstractly wisdom thence. By the free and bond are signified they who know from themselves and they who know from others. By small and great, those are signified who are in a lesser and in a greater degree. It is manifest from these things that by they may eat their flesh is signified the appropriation of goods from the Lord through the truth of the word, and of doctrine, thence in every sense, degree, and kind. It is to be known that no man has any spiritual good from the Lord, except through truth from the word. For the truth of the word are in the light of heaven, and its goods are in the heat of that light. Wherefore, unless the understanding is in the light of heaven through the word, the will cannot come into the heat of heaven. Love and charity cannot be formed except through truth from the word. A man cannot be reformed except through truth therefrom. The church itself with man is formed by them, but not by those truths in the understanding alone, but by life according to them. The truths thus enter into the will and become goods. Thus the face of truth is turned into the face of good. For that which is of the will and thus of the love is called good. And everything which is of the will of love is also of man's life. From this it may be seen that the appropriation of good through truth, in every sense, degree and kind from the Lord through the word, is here meant by eating the flesh of those that are named. Who cannot see that flesh is not here meant by flesh? Who can be so insane as to believe that the Lord calls and calls together all to a great supper, that he may give them to eat of the flesh of kings, commanders of thousands, the mighty, horses, them that sit on them, the free and bond, the small and great? Who cannot see that there is a spiritual sense in those things, and that without that sense no one knows what they signify? Who persists in denying that the word is spiritual in its bosom? Would it not be more than material if those things should be understood according to the sense of the letter and not according to the spiritual sense? Similar to these things are the following from Ezekiel. Thus said the Lord Jehovah, say to the birds of every wing and to every beast of the field, gather yourselves together and come, gather yourselves together from round about unto my great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, yet that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth. Ye shall eat fat to satiety, to satiety, satiety, satiety.
Satiety.
Satiety, like fullness. Ye shall eat fat to satiety, and drink blood even to drunkenness of my sacrifice which I sacrifice for you. Ye shall be satiated. Satiety and satiated, yeah. Satiated.
Satiated.
Yeah, satiated. Fed to satiety, and ye shall be satiated at my table with horse and chariot and every man of war. Thus will I give my glory among the nations. Ezekiel 39, 17, 21. Here in like manner by flesh is signified the good of the church from the Lord through the word, and the truth of the church by blood. Who doesn't see that blood would not be given to drink even to drunkenness, and that they would not be satiated at the table of the Lord Jehovah, with horse, chariot, the mighty, and with every man of war? Since therefore by flesh is signified the good of the church, and by blood the truth of the church, it is plainly manifest that by the flesh and blood of the Lord in the Holy Supper, the divine good and the divine truth from the Lord are signified. The same as by the bread and wine spoken of John 6, 51, 58. Flesh also signifies good and many other passages in the word, as in this: I will remove the heart of stone from their flesh, and will give them a heart of flesh. Ezekiel 11:19, 36, 26. My flesh desire thee in a land of drought. Psalms 63:1. Drought, like dry land.
Drought.
Drought. My heart and my flesh shout alone for the living God. Psalms 804:2. My flesh shall dwell confidently. Psalms 16:9. When thou seest the naked, and thou shalt cover him, and thou shalt not hide thyself from thy flesh. Isaiah 58:7. Verse 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and the armies gathered together to make war with him that sat upon the horse and with his army, signifies that all the interiorly evil who have professed faith alone with the leaders and their followers will fight against the Lord's divine truth in his word, and will infest those who will be of the Lord's new church. That by the beast are signified those who are in the religious persuasion of faith alone may be seen above. That it is only they who are interiorly evil and have professed that religious persuasion will be seen below. By the kings of the earth are signified those who are in the falsities of that religious persuasion, more than the rest, and thus the leaders. For by the kings of the earth are signified those who are in the truth of the church, from the word, and in the opposite sense, those who are in falsities. Here, those who are in falsities. By their armies, all those among them are signified who in like manner are in falsities. By making war is signified to contend against sins. By war in the word spiritual war is signified, which is that of falsity against truth, and of truth against falsity. By him that sat upon the horse is meant the Lord as to the word. And because they cannot fight against the Lord himself, but against his divine truth, which are in the word, and thus they fight against, and fight also against the Lord himself, but against his and because they cannot fight against the Lord himself, but against his divine truths, which are in the word, and thus they fight and thus they fight and thus they fight also against the Lord, because the Lord is the word. Thus therefore is meant by making war with him that sat upon the horse, that by an army those are signified who are in divine truth, thus abstractly divine truth. Consequently, those who are in the Lord's new heaven and new church, because divine truths are with them, may be seen above. Verse 20, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, and did signs before him, with which he seduced them that receive the mark of the beast and that adore his image. Signifies all those who professed faith alone and were interiorly evil, as well as the laity and common people, as the clergy and the learned, who by reasonings and attestations that faith alone is the only means of salvation, have induced others to receive that faith and to live according to it. By the beast here is meant the beast out of the sea, spoken of Revelation 13:1-10, and by the false prophet is meant the beast out of the earth, spoken of in the same chapter, verses 11-18. That by the beast out of the sea are meant the laity and the common people who are in the religious persuasion concerning faith alone, and that by the beast out of the earth I meant the clergy, and the learned who are in that religious persuasion may be seen from the explanations of the chapter. That the false prophet here is the beast out of the earth, which is treated of in the chapter verses, is plainly manifest, because it is here said of the false prophet that it is he that did signs before the other beast, with which he seduced them that received the mark of the beast and that adore his image. For similar things are said of the beast out of the earth. Chapter 13, namely that he did great signs before the beast out of the sea, and seduced them that dwell upon this earth, that they should adore his image and receive his mark upon the right hand and upon the forehead. Revelation 13, 12, 17. From which it is manifest that the clergy and the learned are here signified by the false prophet, who have confirmed themselves in the religious persuasion concerning faith alone, and have seduced the laity and the common people. They are called the false prophet because by a prophet those are signified who teach and preach falsities by perverting the truth of the word. That by the signs of the beast are signified reasonings and attestations that faith alone is the only means of salvation, may be seen above. By receiving the mark of the beast and adoring his image is signified to acknowledge and receive that faith. These two were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone, signifies that all those as they were cast into the hell, where are the loves of falsity and of the same time the lusts of evil. By alive is signified as they were. By these two. Hello.
What's up, brother?
I'm reading the book. You can see on the stream this book. It's Apocalypse Revealed by Swedenborg. It's about spiritual meaning of the Bible.
You are a big fan of him.
Who?
You are a big fan of Swedenborg.
Swedenborg is a big sinner.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, your voice is not clear, maybe because of your microphone. What do you say? Sorry.
Oh,
It is you again, yeah?
yes,
I
brother,
remember
it's
you.
me,
Yeah.
Gali.
Like Orthodox, yeah. But
Yeah.
actually, do you want to read this book together with me?
Go read it. I will listen in the background.
Okay, and we can discuss his point of view. It says, he did great science before the. I read here. He did great science before the beast out of the sea, and seduced them that dwell upon the earth, that they should adore his image, and receive his mark upon the right hand and upon the forehead. Revelation 13, 12, 17. From which it is manifest that the clergy and the learned are here signified by the false prophet, who have confirmed themselves in the religious persuasion concerning faith alone, and have seduced the laity and the common people. They are called the false prophet because by a prophet those are signified who teach and preach falsities by perverting the truth of the word. That by the signs of the beast are signified reasonings and attestations, that faith alone is the only means of salvation, may be seen above. By receiving the mark of the beast and adoring his image is signified to acknowledge and receive that faith. These two were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone, signifies that all those, as they were cast into the hell where are the loves of falsity, and at the same time the lusts of evil. By alive is signified as they were. By these two, namely the beast and the false prophet, are signified all those who professed faith alone. Yeah, like faith alone, like a faith separated from charity, like faith separated from good works. And were interiorly evil, both the laity and the clergy, as just above. By the lake of fire burning with brimstone is signified the hell, where they are, who are in the loves of that falsity, and at the same time in the lusts of evil. By a lake is signified falsities in abundance, treated often that follows. By fire is signified love, here the love of falsity. That fire signifies love both in the good and the evil sense. May be seen here the love of falsity, because it is set a lake of fire. By brimstone is signified the lusts of evil and thence of falsity. The like is said of the dragon, and of these two in the following chapter in these words. The devil, that is the dragon, who seduced them, was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and they shall be tormented day and night for ages of ages. Revelation 12, 20, 10. It is to be known that the hell, where such are, appears at a distance like a fiery lake with a green flame as of brimstone. But they who are in it do not see this. They are shut up there in their workhouses, where they wrangle among themselves vehemently. What is wrangle? Wrangle.
Wrangle.
Wrangle is like dispute. Wrangle.
Wrangle.
Wrangle. Like quarrel. Wrangle. They wrangle among themselves vehemently. What is it? Vehemently?
Vehemently.
Like furiously, vehemently. And sometimes they appear knives in their hands, with which they threaten if they do not yield. Do not yield, like do not agree, maybe. Yeah, yield, this sense. Like give, camp. Do not yield. If they do not yield. It is their love of falsity together with the lusts of evil that makes the appearance of such a lake. That appearance is from correspondence. That by lake is signified where there is truth in abundance, and thence in the opposite sense where there is falsity in abundance, may be evident from the word where there is truth in abundance, from these passages. From the wilderness shall waters break forth and rivers in the plain of the wilderness, and the dry place shall become a lake. Isaiah 35:6-7. I will make the wilderness a lake of waters, and the dry land springs of waters. Isaiah 41:18. Psalms 107:33-35. I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the lakes. Isaiah 42:15. The God of Jacob, who turneth the rock into a lake of waters, and the flint into a fountain of waters. Flint, like
Flint.
it's like fire, maybe silicon in this sense, flint, and the flint into a fountain of waters. It's about rock, maybe, yeah. And all that make higher from the lakes of the soul. All that make higher from the lakes of the soul. What it means, make higher, like to hire people. Yeah, to hire. All that make higher from the lakes of the soul. Isaiah 19:10. In the opposite sense.
Very interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah, maybe can you read too? Can you read aloud from this and comment maybe?
Which verse?
From the top in the opposite sense from this.
In the opposite sense from these, I will cut off from Babel the name and the residue. Wait, why is the words cut off?
Residue, maybe residue. It's like residue, remnant.
Residue.
Residue, like remnant. Yeah.
Residue. Okay.
Residue.
Residue. And I will make her in the inherit of bittern in the lake of waters. Death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. Whoever was not found written in the book of life. That's all.
That's all? Okay. I tired? Maybe.
I don't see the rest of the word.
Whoever was not found written in the book of life. Next page, yeah?
Next page. Skipping through.
You know, your microphone is often is sounded like it's like your microphone lays on your cheek. It's not clear to hear you. Maybe
my microphone's on the.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, now it's better. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do out here. Yeah, man, that's interesting. How long were you following Emanuel Swedenborg?
Actually, I don't like to talk about time because it's about my belief, because I believe that time is a concept. It's and if we think about time, we cannot comprehend the omnipresence of God, because God is outside of time and spaces and matter. And that because
Okay, I see.
because it's
Interesting.
yeah. Because if I say the time, you will think about matter and space. But
Yeah.
Swedenborg writes that if you want to understand and comprehend God, we shouldn't think about time and space and matter like this.
Wait, who is King Arthur? Is he a friend?
Actually, I know him, but I cannot talk about him because
Why not?
I know who was do you know who was a king author? Yeah, king author, like a king who was teaching about round table. Yeah, like this. I
No, I'm
understand.
saying King Arthur in this VC call.
Mm-hmm.
This guy in the VC voice chat, like King Arthur, the Discord guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who he is? Like this guy, right? Like, it's me, you, and King Arthur. This guy in our call.
Actually, I cannot say about other men because I'm just. I don't represent myself. That because I represent this book and I try to understand this book. That because I want to concentrate my mind on this book and on teaching of Swedenborg. I want to understand his point of view, but I don't think about others like this.
Swedenborg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. I don't know. Swedenborg is a very unique person.
Yeah, a lot of great philosophers were influenced by his books, and they created their doctrines and teachings from books of Swedenborg. And a lot of great people
Yep.
were
It
learned
is
from his books.
really interesting. Wait, what church are you part of? You say the new church, New Jerusalem?
Yeah, New Jerusalem. Yeah, it's the new church. We can see the church in the Book of Revelation, and you know, it's not a denomination because you can be in any denominations and confessions, but you can be a Swedenborgian because it's like a state of mind. Because if you understand his books, if you like his books, you are a Swedenborgian. And for example,
But who is this guy in this call? Like, who is he? Your friend? He has the same profile as you in your Reddit profile.
uh, who King Author? Yeah, are you talking about
Yeah.
King Author?
Yeah.
Actually, I cannot say because
not?
I don't like I don't like to talk about others, and I don't like to talk about myself.
What are you talking about?
Because you know I don't represent myself. I represent because Jesus was saying, I don't represent myself, but I represent Him who sent me. Jesus was talking about his teaching and doctrine, and I want to concentrate your mind on this teaching. But if you concentrate your mind on others, it means you.
Badu. You're not a prophet, man. You're just a disciple. You're a human. You're a normal human being like me and you. And we have social life where we talk to others.
Yeah, but it's more important to talk about New Church and New
No,
Jerusalem.
but dude,
Because
it's just kind of weird. You know why it's weird? Because this guy has the same profile as you. Like, who the heck is this guy, dude? Is this your second account? Like, who the heck is this guy?
actually, it doesn't matter. I think.
Is it you?
I answered you, but you don't.
It is you. It
You
is you.
did.
It is you.
You didn't hear. You didn't hear.
It is you.
Because I don't say that.
It is because you have the same Reddit. You have the same Reddit.
Okay,
Well.
let's continue the reading because
Oh.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Okay, you don't
I
have to.
don't
Wait,
I don't I
wait,
don't
dude.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know that what you're talking
You have no
about.
idea. Are
Because,
you like, are
because
you good, man? Are
it's
you okay?
because yeah. Do you see? I am reading this book, and I can talk about myself and my point of view. But if you're asking about, if you're asking me about others, I cannot say to you because this is not my topic. Do you understand? It's a different topic. I'm here not to talk about others. I'm here to talk about this book I read, and this is the topic.
Dude,
Because I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
dude, this kind of sounds like a cult.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Sounds like
Okay,
a
let's
cult.
read. Cold. Okay.
Dude, this is kind of scary. It's kind of suspicious.
Okay, I'll continue the reading if you don't mind. Yeah. Okay. Because it's a topic. We should keep the topic.
How about read
If
the
you change
Bible?
Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the topic is Bible in spiritual sense, because we should understand the secrets of heaven, because Jesus was teaching about secrets of heaven,
Oh my
and
god.
yeah, and it's like a secret teaching, because the
Dude, this
kingdom
is
of God is like a
heresy.
secret heresy.
Hey, this is
Why?
heresy, bro. This is not the real
What is not?
word of God. You know where Jerusalem is? Jerusalem's in Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem doesn't exist. There's only one Jerusalem.
What is New Jerusalem? How do you understand that? What is the meaning of New Jerusalem, like heavenly Jerusalem?
New Jerusalem
What
is what your church is called.
church? Maybe it's a new church, because Jerusalem
The
represents
New
God's
Jerusalem is
church,
the
yeah?
Eastern Orthodox Church. The New Jerusalem is the Eastern Orthodox Church.
It is your faith, yeah.
It is our
But
faith. You know
actually,
that, right? Go Google it. Go Google right now. What church is called the New Jerusalem? The Eastern Orthodox Church.
okay, actually, this reading is over because I have to go, and bye. See you.